Right, guys, welcome back to another In the Rough podcast. I think we're episode 33 now. And yeah, it's a bit of a miserable one because we will be dissecting the hashtag slaughter on the water that was the Ryder Cup this weekend. And I like to
I don't really want to talk about it. I think we lost. Let's just move on. Let's just,
Let's come back for the next one on home soil. It'll be all right.
Well,
all right, short
guys,
podcast.
Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. No, the golf season is over, so we need to talk about something.
It's not over. There's a tournament this weekend.
Not that anyone cares about.
Sergio's playing.
I said no one cares about it. More people are interested in Bryson than the long drive.
No.
Yeah.
Who's Bryson? Who's this guy you're talking about?
He's an absolute stud. He's a weapon. That's purely for Seab's basis.
Okay.
I think Seab's sort of got to admit he's good now.
Yeah, so we start with that, Seab.
What?
Obviously, we're going to look, as much as we won't want to do it, the US, I know we weren't the best, but the US were just unbelievable. And Bryson was one of the performers.
Dustin Johnson was the best performer for the US, I think you'll find.
I didn't say he was the best. I just said he was one of the
He was the only one. He was the only US performer that went 5-0.
He's only one of 4 Americans ever to go 5-0.
Exactly. So why aren't we talking about Dustin? Why are we talking about some overrated guy who just didn't hit a ball far?
Because you like Dustin.
Yeah.
Yeah, to an extent.
I mean, they all just played stupidly well. All
I don't feel any
were
way.
amazing. All the rookies were amazing. All the old boys were good. The only good people for us were Rahm and maybe Sergio. That was about it. And Shane Lowry. I'll give it to Shane Lowry. I think Shane Lowry was pretty good.
Poulter won his singles.
Yeah, but he was always going to. But Shane Lowry was good, and he was one of the only few. I can't even name another of the Europeans who actually seemed to care enough to.
I think Rahm and Garcia. Yeah.
Rahm, like I said, was the best European performer. But we expected him to, being world number one and all. So strong performance out of him. That's about where the positives kind of stop, in all honesty. Hovland had a good round on the second day.
In fairness, I thought Hovland played quite well. His matchups though were hard the whole way.
I don't think anyone played bad.
Yeah, that's
apart from Rory.
Tyrrell
Hatton played pretty well the first pair that he was in.
Yeah,
he started with 4 birdies in a row. Yeah, but they were still tied.
But he was. That
was because they were down like 3. They were down like 3 holes after 3 holes. That's why they
started off like birdie. So it was tied. And
no, so it was Sergio and Ron that were 3 down, weren't they? And they came back to win.
Yeah, something like that. It's just depressing because they're all the Americans are young. They're all going to be around for 2 decades.
It was very painful.
Harrington was a rubbish flipping captain.
Was he?
I mean, they all said they enjoyed it. They all said they enjoyed it, but
I don't care if they enjoyed it. I don't care.
All the partnerships were pretty rubbish, other than Rahm and Garcia.
Yeah, but would you not argue? I don't think whoever we had as captain, we would have beat them.
It wouldn't make a difference.
No, but I just don't think it would be as bad if you'd set out some better partnerships that made a bit more sense. Not playing Tommy Fleetwood, who almost went 5-0 in the last one, just lost a single, and you did play him.
I said this in the group chat, by the way.
You played Wiesberger in 2 of the 4 balls? For some reason.
Apparently he was good in the warm-ups.
So I think he played Wiesberger because outside of the captain's pick, he actually qualified and was the one in form towards the end of the season. Not saying that was the right pick, but I'm just trying to figure out.
But then again, is that not? That's another issue with the captaincy. He chose how many captain's picks he was going to have, so he pretty much made that his own. He did that by his own hand.
I said this about Tommy Fleetwood and the fact that I wanted to see him play more especially given how good he was the last time he did play, which was concerning. But I back to the point of, yes, the matchups probably could have been tweaked. How many of them, even with a couple of ideal pairings potentially or tweaked pairings, how many of them would have swung the other way? Because
but to be fair, there were a lot of matches though that it was like pretty close.
A few, but I think the ones that won were majority quite far gone.
Yeah, but then you think about momentum and stuff. If you keep it close during the first 2 days, singles become a lot more different and high pressurized, where there was literally no pressure because they know that
there was
they're going to get 3 points out of 12. Like,
so Sunday, I barely tuned in apart from right at the end, just to see the formalities.
The epitome of how good the Americans was playing was when Jordan Spieth was on a sheer cliff face wall thing, hit it about 100 yards in the air.
In the worst lie possible.
Almost.
In the worst lie possible. The ball, you couldn't even see the ball. I hope Seb can somehow get a clip of this.
It was so easy for them. Brooks and Bryson became friends. Although the whole thing is fake, but still.
Yeah, I watched that Jordan Spieth shot live, and at that point I knew.
I did, yeah.
I watched that one single shot live.
I think it was just pretty obvious after the first day that it was the first 4 matches that it was gonna.
I saw that shot and I saw him tumbling down the cliff almost towards the sea, looking back and then seeing how close that ball got to the hole, and I was like, wow, okay. Yeah.
Where do we go from here for 2 years' time? Does a change of course in Italy, where they've not won for 30 years, mean anything?
No, I think they need to go to the root of the problem, which is the Americans churn out talent and superstars every year. And in fairness, the last 2 or 3 years, bar Hovland, the closest person we've got is.
You say every year, but then we've won 7 of the last 10 before this one.
But in recent times, they're pumping out good young golfers, and we're not.
But that just happens. It's just
that and the fact of the talent they've been pumping out is now maturing. So they did have a lean period, but now you look at the talent that they have pumped out. Jordan Spieth is coming towards what really should be the peak of his career rather than the start of his career. Justin Thomas is there. DJ is there. Colin Morikawa is gonna.
Yeah, but you're just seeing what you're seeing is just a culmination of everyone who started playing golf because of Tiger.
Yeah,
just getting to the right age now. Like it just happens like that. It's like a cycle. It just happens. Like they get. It's just one of those freak things where you've got all of these players all just happen to probably pick up a golf club at the same age,
except for in Europe.
Well, yeah, but it's probably less. But then we've had better players for the 2 decades before that, where we churned out Justin Rose, Lee Westwood, and all those sorts of players.
What that means is for this generation's dominance to end, we need the Europeans now need a player for the generation to come through now. Someone like a Sevi to inspire. So whether that's John Rahm.
To inspire. I just think it's one of those things. I don't think it's ever been in history this many good American golfers in comparison.
Yeah, they had. You bear in mind we had the world number 1, but then they had 6 of the top 10. That's the difference. John Rahm can't do it well.
Their lowest ranked player was 21st in the world,
and you bear in mind their oldest player was DJ at 37.
And
that's scary.
And the fact of, in terms of moving forward, they're going to have some good leadership going forward as well. Tiger's still going to be around, to
Phil's
going to be there. You can even see like a Matt Kuchar going into that sort of.
The only thing is, the only saving grace is literally everything was against the Europeans.
Yeah,
the Americans have all the better players, had all the more informed players. Playing at their home course, shape, home crowd with no European fans, with COVID.
Weather conditions, I think, were reasonable.
And there was no like horrible rain or that
But I think rain or wind would play into European conditions, into European hand really.
But it was just cold though, wasn't it?
But I think the fact that it was cold does make it a bit more interesting because the ball isn't meant to fly as far. There were a couple of players who disproved that point.
Who?
I don't think it was that cold though, compared to what they were thinking.
Sehab, who disproved the point about the ball going quite far?
Dustin Johnson when he hit a 279-yard 3-wood.
So didn't someone?
That's normal.
Didn't someone do like 417? Sehab, who was that? I can't remember his name.
Some chav.
Was it Bryson? Bryson something?
That's what it is. Bryson just looks like a chav.
How does he look like a chav?
Oh, wow. The dude wears a flat cap, mate. That's not. Yeah. If anything,
your typical
Cockney geezer, but
yeah, Cockney geezer chav.
Wearing a tucked polo.
Until the Americans do it on European soil, we'll be fine.
Yeah, it doesn't count. Doesn't count.
Yeah, well, I think that will be the most interesting part. Is yes, they are man for man significantly better and probably will be for the next 20 years, but are they going to do it in Rome?
But I just don't feel that's like that course is going to screw them over.
Well, you feel
you need to whack them somewhere on the coast where they're going to be like.
It needs to be. I'd want it back in like Ireland or Scotland. I want a proper links course. You know, where you hit it and there's going to be a 50-mile bluster come out of nowhere.
Play it up at St Andrew or St George's or something in Kent or something.
You know, or like the Royal Birkendale, or you know, anywhere along
any of those.
Windmill Hill, Milton Keynes. They ain't got a chance on those greens. Not a chance.
I don't think anyone does. There was last time we went, there was literally a map of the earth on one of the greens. With that,
there was plants growing on the green, which is when you're putting over moss and then like it looked like clovers or whatever the hell it was. It was mental.
Well, so they was playing in Rome not next year, in 2 years. Then they're playing on the hardest golf course in the world. I think pretty much they ranked it at Bethpage Black in America when we go back there, which should be interesting. And then we're playing at Adair Manor in Ireland.
It's a very nice hotel, that one. I've seen
then Hazeltine National Golf Club, which they played in 2016.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And then next two European ones are unconfirmed. I would strongly recommend somewhere with a strong sea breeze.
Yeah.
Scotland.
Somewhere cold, wet, and windy. Yeah.
Play it in December.
Yeah. Somewhere miserable.
Advisable at a time when the weather conditions are just not going to be conducive to golf.
Yeah. So it'll be empty. Typically, it'll be a heat wave in Scotland that week, and it'll be lovely. Which is, is exactly what will happen. But in other news, obviously, I know Siam's going to hate it, but obviously, yes, there is other tournaments going on this weekend coming, but a lot of the coverage has been around the Long Drive Championships this week. No, it's not who cares here, but this is what the people are wanting and watching. Is it good for golf or is it bad for golf, though?
It's only for chaps who hit golf clubs really fun.
I'm neutral on it.
You're neutral on it.
You don't sound very neutral.
I'm not going to watch personally. But if that's what the public wants to see, I guess they'll get their wish.
Why don't you like Long Drive?
But do you think it's good or bad for the?
An issue with Long Drive. I just have an issue with. There needs to be. There's still. I'd want to see a separation between the two. Or
there is. It's one person.
Exactly. Or have everyone do it, and then you have a more interesting tournament.
It's still interesting because he's not the best at Long Drive. Well, in fairness to him, yesterday his first two drives he was 4th and 5th on the leaderboard, and he had the most accuracy, which for someone who doesn't do it regularly is very impressive.
I would think he would have the best accuracy, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, of course he would. But, otherwise, the other boys would be on the tour probably.
Yeah,
like exactly. That Carl Berkshire and stuff's unbelievable. And you watch him play for like Good and the YouTube teams, like he's unbelievable. But it still shows you the golfing class between the long drive and the tour it's not comparable.
The top 100 in the world and everyone else. I think the golfing class is more than you can ever really fathom. You know, it's very difficult. But which is why I kind of want to see that differentiation between the two, because and to be honest, you know what I want from the long drive is I want them to be given even wackier stuff, like just longer.
You want them to extend the shafts, like change what you want, so they can have more variables. Then have to
I want that to be its own entity thing where it goes off and be its own thing, and it's about the pursuit of how far is it actually possible. So
which is exactly what Bryson is doing. So why do you have an issue with him doing it?
He's not really, though, is he?
Well, yes, he is.
He's fifth currently, Abby. He is signed up and he's competing. He's not there as a PR stunt. He genuinely wants to win that.
But it is a PR stunt.
How is it a PR stunt? He's changed his body.
It's a PR stunt.
For a PR stunt, he's changed his body.
Because it's worth 30 million. It's worth a great portion of 30 million. That's why
it's a PR stunt.
Oh no, I think you've got it the wrong way around. He's doing it, but he's also taking the opportunity to promote it, which is good for the sport itself.
Which is good for the long drive competition. But because everyone again puts the attention to Bryson, it's good for his bank figure at the end of the day because he gets that larger portion of that 30 million. So to be honest, I think everyone else is kind of missing.
What's wrong with that? If he's the only player that's actually going and doing something outside of the tour, surely he should be rewarded for that.
And yeah, say Long Drive gets a lot more sponsors and grows 50 million in what it can produce in its revenue and streams and stuff like that, then surely that's a byproduct of him doing
that's
it.
That's fine for Long Drive. I just don't think
you should be. If you can see my face right now,
it's definitely a way for him to drive his own thing.
Yeah, but what's wrong with that though?
I think I just don't like him.
I think that's it. That's all it is. The question would be if Colin Morikawa or Dustin Johnson or
Colin wouldn't ever do it. Don't ever disrespect Colin.
If Rory did it,
if they went and did it, would you have the same issue with it?
To an extent, but
that's
perhaps not as much. No, I would because I think Rory's messed up his game enough. Trying to hit it longer, because every single time he's trying to hit it longer, pound for pound, he's probably one of the best long drive hitters in the game.
For his size, he is.
Absolutely. That's what I mean. So, but and Rory's admitted this himself, that every time he's trying to hit longer, he's had to sacrifice other elements in his game. So I would have an issue with him signing up for a long drive competition, because that means he's deteriorating further elements of his game.
But it's fine if he's doing it for his own personal benefit to get his bank account then, right?
No,
because he's not.
That's even worse.
Well, but Siab, you've got to look at it in the nicest way possible. Bryson doesn't need to increase his bank account. He's making tens of millions from the tour anyway. He doesn't need to go do it for his bank account?
Yeah, but he can get some further extra sponsorships, and there's just never a thing as enough money.
Yeah, but he didn't start changing his body and doing that for the aim of then doing long drive.
Yeah, he's realised that he can hit it.
No. I'm not saying he's done it for the aim of doing long drive. I'm saying that's why this long drive thing is such a add-on in a way. So
you just said it's for a PR stunt, and then I was like, well, he did this whole body thing, and you were like, oh, he changed his body for a PR stunt. So you said the whole thing's a PR stunt.
I'm saying that he's doing this long drive thing as a PR stunt. Yes, he changed his body to give himself that competitive advantage. That's fine to try and be different in that regard.
But why would he put himself through all the training and all that and ripping up his hands for a PR stunt?
Because it's literally worth millions.
But I would probably argue it's not, because the revenue streams and stuff aren't there for it to be worth that much.
So it's about the social engagement fund from the PGA. It's about It's about getting sponsorships or being that PGA player that's doing all those.
He's already got sponsorships. No one's going to be able to pay him more than he's already getting.
No one's going to take Puma.
And there'll be more deals that he can take on.
Yeah, but no one in long drive is a big enough sponsor because it doesn't get that much money.
I'm not saying no one. I'm not saying there's the ones in long drive that are going to be the big sponsor. I'm saying it's going to be the commercial media outlets outside that then see him as this single figure that's flittering between two, and he can identify himself as being the one that's changing the sport. And then Nike can do an ad, say, "Oh, change the game," and whatever.
He's already sponsored by clothing brands, golfing brands. Rocket Mortgage, Bridgestone for his ball.
There will be more. There's always more stuff.
So this is the question though. Bryson aside, surely it's a positive regardless who goes into long drive. It's going to bring more fans into the sport, regardless if it's long drive or tour. It will bring more fans to the sport because he's an entertainer.
It's not bringing more fans to sport. It's bringing more fans to a facet of the sport. It's the same thing.
Then if you go to that, and then you discover actual golf from doing long drive.
How many?
Which is a logical thing to do.
Yeah.
You can't do long drive without playing golf first because you won't be good at it.
Yeah, but but the thing you've got to bear in mind from looking at wider perspectives here, for a lot of people, the long drive is much more entertaining to watch than most golf tours, and you can't argue with that. It's quick, it's short format, and people love it.
This is my thing with the cricket shorter formats as well. It's not purely just golf and the long drive competition. This is my thing with T20s and the 100.
He's just a traditionalist, all right.
ruining what Test cricket and a lot of other formats. So we now have T10 cricket. We have the 100.
But that's a good thing. You're getting more people into the sport and watching it and eyes on it.
But it's not actually watching the sport, though, is it? It's watching such a bastardized version of the sport that it's
just shorter.
It's
more exciting. It's more exciting.
Sehab, here's one for you. If I go, right, we're going to have a cricket long drive event where we're all going to bowl at them and whoever can hit it the furthest from the crease.
That already happens throughout tournaments where they measure the distance you've hit it, and the person who's generally hit it the furthest gets some kind of nominal prize. But
yes, and it's a lot more entertaining and better to watch that than hear someone piddle it for 4 hours and get like 3 runs.
Excuse me. No,
see, it's the same thing for the not you specifically, for the vast majority of fans, whether it's golf or cricket, watching a 2020 bash or something like that. Because you can watch it in a 2 or 3 hour sitting, is significantly better than going to a 5-day event.
It's an event, though, isn't it? All outcomes.
You can't even argue it yourself anymore. Mark this date in that history. It's the first day. Siam's just not arguing anymore because he knows he's lost.
So I'm not saying it's better or worse, but I'm saying it's completely understandable why it's popular.
That's fine. It's just
we'll take it there, Sam. We'll move on because we know you're struggling with this one. But we'll wrap it up because obviously, and I know you mentioned it, Tom. Obviously, Sergio and a few others are playing this weekend. What's your thoughts? Because I know most people have taken the time off to relax now, haven't they?
Yeah, I probably won't watch because no one really is playing.
I didn't even know there was a tournament on this weekend.
I reckon Sam Burns wins because there's no one else playing and he's pretty good.
Is he playing this weekend?
He is playing, yeah.
It's basically just him versus Sergio. That's pretty much all it is. So.
Who's going to take Sergio? Because I don't know who else is playing.
Well, no, we won't pick for this tournament. No.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, well, I think maybe in the next
watch the Premier League this weekend.
Sehab is a defeated man.
Yeah. His argument is resulted is to watch a different sport entirely.
This is what happens when Europe loses by its biggest margin in a general. Ever. Yes. So my advice: watch Liverpool versus Man City.
Also, interestingly enough, circling back, all of the most recent Ryder Cups have been by the biggest margins ever. They've not been close.
Yeah. was it the last the top four have all been what since 2012 or something?
Yeah, I would imagine something like that.
So you either turn up, you really don't turn up at all, do you?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's the big thing is momentum, isn't it? In the Ryder Cup, as soon as it swings one way, it goes, doesn't it? I think that's more common than it has ever been.
I'm interested to see the crowd at the next one, whenever it happens in Rome.
It's happening in Rome. Well, I did get in the ballot to get a ticket for the week, but I decided against it, judging by the fact it was €1,000 for one ticket. And
I'll give that a pass.
That's face value directly. Given that gives you access Monday through Sunday. Given that's everything. That's practice. That's the celebs. That's the warm up. Then everything commissioning from that. It's a whole week. So I'm sure if you're there for a whole week, it's not too bad. But that's no.
I'll wait for the one in Ireland because then I can just commute every day instead of just staying.
Commute to Ireland every day.
Joking.
From where?
Get a helicopter. I don't know.
Well, Tom is waiting.
For the next 4 years, I'm going to spend the next six years getting a helicopter license, just so then I can just fly above and just watch from above.
How about just having a blimp? You know.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, fine, sorted.
Yeah, hybrid air vehicles are coming back into fashion, by the way. So expect to see those in your skies.
Well, there you go. When me and Tom played at Millbrook the other week, it overlooks Duxford, which has got the two big blimp factories where they built all the World War II blimps.
This is descended into something neither golf related or interesting.
It's interesting to a few people, but
I'm sorry, only 3 people watch this podcast, and 3 of them are us. So it's interesting to 2 of us. Therefore, the vast majority of the audience finds this interesting, Thomas.
I mean, at the end of this is our weekly catch-up. We just happen to put it on the internet. That's what really happens here. But I'm sure there's a few. Well, 34 people watched last week's one. So,
wow, practically famous.
We've got 100 subs now, Siab, on the tube.
I'm pretty sure 2 of those are my accounts.
What?
I'm pretty sure 2 of those are mine.
You're fine. It'll be fine. Right, anyway, we'll wrap it up there because we've run out of stuff to talk about. So good. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Ta-da!